The death of Genghis Khan sent shockwaves through the Mongol Empire. In the absence of the great leader, the hearts of the tribes were filled with fear and uncertainty. Every chief was ready to fight for power and influence, but the survival and unity of the empire became the greatest test of the time. Now, each tribal leader stepped into the field with their wisdom and strategy. This was not just a battle for power, but a decision that would shape the future of the empire. Who would emerge as the leader to guide the Mongols from darkness into light? Today, in this third episode of our documentary, we will explore what happened to the empire after the death of Genghis Khan and who became the new Great Khan. From his rise to power to his reign, we will cover the entire journey. We request you to watch the video till the end, and if you enjoy this documentary, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. To choose a new Great Khan, the Mongol tribes called a Grand Council, known as a Kurultai, to decide who would lead. Genghis Khan had 4 sons, but due to certain temporary issues, making the decision was difficult. The council continued for several days with debates and discussions. Some tribes preferred the eldest son, Joki, but questions about his paternity and other political issues limited his support. The second son, Ögedei, was also considered unsuitable by some due to his harsh nature and rigid temperament, which could threaten the unity of the empire. The third son, Ögedei, was seen as the most suitable leader by the tribes because of his simplicity, wisdom, patience, and moderation. During the Kurultai, every chief presented their arguments and expectations, yet Ögedei's balanced and humble leadership stood clear to all. Finally, Ögedei was formally elected as the Great Khan. This moment was of immense significance in Mongol history, as it determined the leadership and future of the empire. Upon ascending the throne, Ögedei worked to maintain unity and harmony among the tribes. The sights of the Kurultai, tents, tall banners, and horses, heightened the importance of this historic moment. This election symbolized the stability of the empire and the beginning of a new era for the Mongols, showcasing a perfect blend of responsibility, wisdom, and strength in leadership. In 1229, Ögedei ascended the throne as the Great Khan, taking the helm of the vast Mongol Empire. His early reign was devoted to consolidating the empire and forging unity among the tribes. He understood that mere force could not sustain an empire. True leadership required wisdom, justice, and a robust administrative system. At the outset, Ögedei dispatched trusted representatives across the empire to assess the needs, strengths, and grievances of each tribe. He implemented strategic reforms in both military and civil administration, ensuring decisions were executed swiftly and efficiently. Border regions were fortified under the command of loyal military governors, directly accountable to the Khan, safeguarding rebellious territories and securing vital trade routes. During this period, Ögedei oversaw calculated military campaigns to maintain dominance, particularly in the northern reaches of China and Eastern Europe. Though limited in scale, these operations were decisive in preserving order, deterring unrest, and reinforcing the authority of the central power. Ögedei's blend of wisdom, patience, and measured authority maintained cohesion among the tribes and amplified the empire's strength. The protection of trade routes and caravans strengthened economic stability, while the empire's vast borders remained secure and unchallenged. These foundational years of Ögedei's reign showcased the power of strategic governance, the importance of disciplined administration, and the enduring influence of a ruler who balanced authority with prudence and foresight. After ascending the throne in 1229, Ögedei launched strategic military initiatives to expand the Mongol Empire and strengthen influence over new territories. His forces carried out small-scale campaigns and border operations across northern China, Persia, and Eastern Europe to suppress potential rebellions and maintain the loyalty of the tribes. These campaigns showcased the Mongol army's tactical skill, rapid response, and strong leadership. In northern China, they captured enemy fortresses, while in Persia, border tribes were brought under control. Minor skirmishes along the Eastern European frontiers sent a clear message to adversaries and ensured the security of the empire. During this period, Ögedei also established fortified military checkpoints in key regions and prioritized the protection of vital trade routes. These measures were crucial not only for consolidating the empire's existing territories but also for extending Mongol influence into newly acquired lands. The reign of Ögedei Khan brought stability and unity to the vast Mongol Empire. As time passed, however, the immense size of the empire and the autonomy of the tribes presented new challenges. Tribal leaders vied for power and influence, and Ögedei knew that maintaining authority required not just strength, but wisdom, patience, and careful governance. To address these challenges, Ögedei sent trusted representatives across the empire to understand the needs, grievances, and strengths of each tribe. Loyal governors and military commanders were placed in key regions to ensure that borderlands remained secure and that any threat of rebellion could be swiftly suppressed. Ögedei's military strategy focused on small, targeted campaigns rather than large-scale battles. Northern China, Persia, and Eastern Europe witnessed these operations, aimed at maintaining order, protecting borders, and ensuring the loyalty of the tribes. Though limited in scale, these actions clearly demonstrated that the authority of the Great Khan was absolute and that rebellion would not be tolerated. Economic stability was also a priority. Ögedei protected vital trade routes, including the Silk Road, establishing security measures for caravans and merchants. These efforts not only strengthened commerce but also built trust and cooperation among local tribes, reinforcing the cohesion of the empire. Administrative reforms strengthened the governance system. Provincial offices and local leadership were organized to ensure swift and effective decision-making. Reports from all regions were sent directly to the Khan, keeping the empire coordinated and united. Central authority was strengthened, and harmony among the tribes was maintained. Ögedei's final years were challenging for the empire. In 1241, he passed away, leaving a temporary power vacuum. Historical records indicate that his death was due to health complications, with some sources citing illness or lifestyle factors. While minor uprisings and local assertions of autonomy occurred in certain regions, Ögedei's strong administrative foundations and the unity he cultivated prevented the empire from collapsing. His reign marked a period of military, economic, and administrative stability. Ögedei strengthened the empire, preserved unity, and laid the groundwork for future great Khans. His leadership demonstrated that ruling a vast empire required not only force but also wisdom, foresight, and balance. The Ögedei era showed that the survival and prosperity of the Mongol Empire depended as much on governance and diplomacy as on the sword. The principles and reforms of his reign became a guiding light for successive Khans, securing the enduring power and cohesion of the Mongol state. The death of Ögedei in 1241 marked a delicate phase for the Mongol Empire. The sudden passing of the Great Khan created a temporary power vacuum and spread uncertainty among the tribes. Although Ögedei had established strong administrative structures and unity among the tribes, during this transitional period some leaders sought to expand their autonomy. Minor uprisings occurred, but the empire's strong foundations and the loyalty of the tribes prevented any major crisis. Economic and military systems remained functional, and trade routes, especially the Silk Road, continued to operate safely and efficiently. Caravans moved uninterrupted, reflecting the effectiveness of the security measures put in place during Ögedei's reign. During this time, Mongol forces remained vigilant along the borders, ready to respond to any local conflicts or external threats. Even without major military campaigns, peace was maintained and the loyalty of the tribes preserved. This period was a test for the empire, yet Ögedei's wisdom, patience, and strong governance ensured its stability. His administrative reforms, efforts to maintain harmony among the tribes, and focus on economic security guaranteed that the empire remained united and powerful even under interim leadership. Ögedei's death posed challenges, but the strong foundations he had built paved the way for the election of the next great Khan and secured the survival of the Mongol Empire. His legacy demonstrated that a vast empire could withstand transitional periods if governance, unity, and strategic planning were carefully maintained. After Ögedei's passing, unrest spread in different corners of the empire. Some local leaders tried to seize more power, small rebellions rose, and trade routes saw trouble. Yet everyone knew these were temporary storms. The true focus was on the coming Kurultai, the great council where the fate of the empire would be decided. The Kurultai was not just a gathering, it was the moment that would shape the empire's future. Endless rows of tents, the neighing of horses, and the proud banners of tribes filled the vast plains. Every chieftain arrived with honor, each carrying the weight of their people's hopes. Ögedei's sons and close relatives stood as candidates. Some tribes supported his son Gayuk, while others leaned toward different princes or powerful leaders. Days of debate followed. At times, calm voices argued with reason, and at other times anger and passion ruled the air. The empire stood at a crossroads. Without unity, civil war was a real threat. Each tribe had its own desires, but all knew one truth. Only a leader with wisdom, justice, and strength could hold this vast empire together. One by one, the chiefs spoke. They praised their chosen candidates, challenged their rivals, and defended their visions for the future. Yet behind every word was the same urgency. The empire's survival depended on a single choice. At last, after long days of debate, a decision was reached. The new great Khan was chosen. This was more than an election. It was the turning of a page in world history. The leader who now rose to power would decide the path of war, peace, and conquest for years to come. In 1248, Gayuk Khan suddenly fell ill. News of the great Khan's failing health spread across the vast empire. Guests, advisors, and tribal leaders gathered outside his chambers, and the court waited in tense silence. The moment Gayuk drew his last breath, the entire palace fell silent. Faces in the court reflected fear and sorrow. This was not just the death of a man, but a test for the entire empire. Following Gayuk Khan's passing, a power vacuum immediately emerged. Generals in the west and tribes in the east moved to expand their influence. Minor rebellions broke out, and some trade routes fell into danger. This transitional period became one of the most critical moments for the empire, as all knew that a new great Khan would soon need to be chosen. After Gayuk's death, leadership of the empire was taken over in 1248 by Torjin Khatun as regent. She worked tirelessly to maintain peace among the tribes and chiefs and to ensure military and economic stability during the interim government. Trade routes, particularly the Silk Road, were protected, and military outposts remained alert to respond quickly to any rebellion or attack. This interim period lasted from 1248 to 1251. The empire remained vast, yet internal unity was weakening rapidly. Tribes tested each other's strength, and every faction aspired to see their candidate as the next great Khan. Military campaigns slowed on external fronts, but the strong administrative structure established by the previous Khans prevented the empire from collapsing entirely. Meanwhile, the selection of a new great Khan began through the Grand Kurultai. Vast tents were pitched across the plains, the sound of horses filled the air, and tribal banners waved proudly. Every chieftain presented their candidate, including the sons and relatives of Gayuk, along with other powerful leaders. Days of debates and discussions unfolded, with every moment carrying the weight of the empire's future. In 1251, after years of political rivalries, Möngke Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan and eldest son of Tolui, was elected as the great Khan. His selection brought an end to the instability that had followed Gayuk Khan's death. At Karakoram, chiefs and generals pledged allegiance, recognizing Möngke as the true successor who would carry forward the legacy of his grandfather. Möngke's rule began with a firm hand. He knew the empire was vast but fragile, threatened by tribal rivalries and distant rebellions. His first act was to reorganize the administration. He reduced corruption, imposed strict laws against misuse of wealth, and ensured that taxes from all corners of the empire flowed consistently to the capital. He ordered a census across Persia, Central Asia, and China, strengthening the economic foundation of Mongol rule. By 1253, Möngke turned his attention to military expansion. His brothers became his strongest allies in this mission. He entrusted Hulagu, his younger brother, with a campaign to the west. Hulagu's task was monumental: to crush the remnants of the assassins in Persia and to challenge Islamic powers, including the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad. This westward campaign would later change the history of the Middle East forever. Meanwhile, in the east, Möngke Khan himself led operations against the southern Song dynasty in China. The Song were wealthy, powerful, and had resisted Mongol advances for decades. Möngke understood that defeating them was essential to fully conquer China. He launched a series of campaigns into Sichuan, targeting heavily fortified cities. These battles were brutal, fought in mountainous terrain and humid climate that was unfamiliar to the Mongols. By 1256, Hulagu's forces had achieved remarkable victories in the west. The stronghold of the assassins, Alamut Castle in Persia, was destroyed. Soon after, Hulagu's armies advanced deeper, preparing for the siege of Baghdad. Möngke received news of these triumphs with pride, as the empire's influence stretched wider than ever before. But challenges remained in the east. In 1257, Möngke personally commanded the army in a massive campaign against the Song dynasty. His goal was to capture Sichuan province and use it as a base to strike deeper into Chinese territory. The Mongols captured several towns and fortresses, spreading fear across the region. However, the siege of Diaoyu Fortress in Chongqing became a turning point. The fortress was heavily defended, and the Mongol army faced unfamiliar conditions: intense heat, disease, and difficult terrain. Months dragged on with little success. By 1259, Möngke himself joined the front lines to oversee the campaign. But during this time, he fell seriously ill, most likely from dysentery. Despite the efforts of his physicians, his condition worsened. On August 11, 1259, Möngke Khan breathed his last inside the Mongol camp near Diaoyu Fortress. He was only 50 years old. His death shook the empire to its core. Soldiers who had followed him with unshakable loyalty wept, and generals immediately realized the consequences. The great Khan's passing meant another inevitable power struggle. Möngke's death brought the campaign in China to a halt. The Mongol armies withdrew, and news of his passing spread rapidly across the empire. His brothers Hulagu in the west and Kublai in the east both began preparing for the succession struggle that would soon engulf the empire. For the Mongols, this was not just the end of a ruler but the beginning of a new and uncertain chapter. This was the story of the Mongols up to the death of Möngke Khan and what happened afterward. We will cover the next part of the documentary in the upcoming episode, so stay with us until then. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.